At exactly the right time, all of a sudden, there they were, with their eyes and ears and arms open to help us.
That volunteers there that can start interacting with the family and give the firefighter that comfort that not only have they taken care of the victim of this, because they've also taken care of the family.
We're here to provide support for someone who is experiencing an emotional crisis in their life.
Well, these are just like having two really knowledgeable friends on what goes on, and they knew what to say, when to say it, and how to say it.
You don't remember their face, you won't remember their name, but you remember that they were there with you in the most horrible moments of your life, and that they helped you through it.
The whole essence of the TIP program, our major mission and our major goal is to provide immediate support for people who are really struggling because a tragic event has just occurred in their lives.
Well, it was one of those nights when you're asleep in bed and you get that phone call that's every mother and father's worst nightmare that says that your son's been in a very severe car accident and you need to go to the hospital.
That was, you just don't know what's going on in there. You're filling out paperwork and you're answering questions and you don't really know, is your son okay, is your son not okay? And as you start to go back to the ECU, all of a sudden this person comes up and says hello. And Georgia and Ellen, and they introduce themselves, and all of a sudden you realize you have this friend who's going to help walk you through this. And they just simply, in a night that makes no sense at all, it starts to make sense because they help you understand what's going on.
We're focused on the second victim. There's two victims involved. We have the victim who has been injured, or a victim who has died, and we're dealing with the victim who's going through the emotional crisis of losing a mate, a loved one, a son or a daughter, and so we're meeting that emotional need that that person has at that moment.
You know, when you're in a crisis and you get that call, you're mustering all of the energy that God gives you to be able to be there to help the son, my son, our son, and do whatever it takes. And hopefully you're not there to say goodbye to him. So the TIP volunteer, they just were so great about reading our emotions, and they knew when the right time was to come in, when we needed the hug, when we needed the Kleenex, when we needed the cup of coffee, when we needed the pencil and pad to write down our thoughts, to see all of the things that we still needed to do. And then when to give us our space, so that we as husband and wife, as parents to our son, needed to regroup and just also have some alone time. There's never just one type of call that we answer to. We go to any call that we're needed and to any person that is in need of support.
In addition to providing support to families in their hour of need, the Trauma Intervention Program provides relief to emergency personnel as well.
Before we had TIP, what we were faced with is our firefighters going to scenes of tragedies where someone had suffered a loss of a loved one or a significant injury, and there was this sense of no closure as we drove away.
Many police and firefighters and hospital ER people will tell you that one of the most stressful parts of their job is having to leave the emotionally devastated behind because they have to get back to service. So it saves emergency responders stress. It saves them time, really releasing them back to do what we pay them to do.
We wanted to do everything we could to take care of the victims and the patients and the whole scene if we could, but we were somewhat limited in our ability to deal with the emotional sides of the survivors, if you will. TIP has filled that gap for us, and we're very fortunate to have this part of our organization. There's a number of cities that OCFA serves and others in the county that are members of TIP. There are some other cities that are not. My recommendation, those cities that are not, sign on. It'll be the best few dollars you've ever spent in terms of taking care of the people in your community.
I would encourage any city that's interested in utilizing this program to call other cities in the South Orange County area or in the Central Orange County area and ask about their experience with the program.
But you can't, you can't put a price on that service because it goes beyond. It's like having an instant family member there that they're knowledgeable. They know how the hospital situation works. There's somebody to ask questions to. So the TIP training is obviously pretty expensive because in our instance, they didn't miss a beat in helping us.
You know, not everybody can be a first responder and be a firefighter or a police officer, and they still can have an opportunity to make an impact in our community. And being a TIP volunteer provides that opportunity.
I just want them to know that they are really valuable, that they're providing a great service, one that I know from our personal situation is why we're here, because we really care and we're really thankful for what TIP did for us.
You know, when the hospital called us, they really can't tell you how your son is. And when we got there, the people at the front desk, they were terrific, but they can't tell you how your son is. And you feel so out of control. And when we met the TIP volunteers, they knew, maybe they didn't know how my son was either, but they knew how the process worked. They knew how the police responded to the EMTs and how they responded to the medical center. And by them knowing what they knew, they had a certain sense of control around them, a confidence that they understood what was going on, and it was okay. And as long as they could convey that confidence to you, you were like, okay, all right, if you tell me it's okay, I'm okay. And that probably was the first time you had a sense of something might be okay.